all these rejections from the middle Bollinger Band.
Resistance we're going to need.
If you actually see here, we get a
And we'll look for a healthy higher
I
low.
would not
don't have
be
the
convinced
pullback
to
to
enter a long trade.
Hello, crypto friends. Hope you're doing well on this fine Sunday. Currently enjoying a pre-beach Dragon's Milk Stout and rocking my Ethereum Pink Floyd shirt. Got a comment on that today, but I don't know if it was a comment about Pink Floyd or a comment about Ethereum. Well, can only guess. I think my favorite Pink Floyd song is Have a Cigar, and a fun game if you like moonshine is Shine On You Crazy Diamond. And every time he says shine, you take a schwill, or what we used to call a Bruce Schwillis. So we're going to be looking at Bitcoin and a lot of altcoins: BTC, ETH, IOT, NEO, EOS, BNB, ADA, ETC, ZEC, and we'll see how they are all faring comparative to what Bitcoin is doing. A lot of them are in USD values, as that is what is voted on, but it's easy enough to compare to what we're looking at on the BTC USD chart as well. So we currently have a battle going on for Bitcoin around the $7,000 range. And it's a battle where we're saying, all right, we know we're due for a bounce on the daily time frame. This is the most red days in a row that we've seen in years. And we're seeing this battle now where the bulls are trying to get some momentum going. The bears still have a firm grasp on things. So that's really what's been playing out all day today. This is the weekly time frame. Again, the volume notably significant for the bears. That is a red flag for the bulls. And initially when this consolidation started, we had our target visually of low 8,000s for the lower high. And we were looking at the potential for a higher low to form between 68 and 6,900 is what I said. Now, it would be a different story if it took 2 weeks to get to that level on declining bear volume, as opposed to 1 week to get there on some very solid bear volume. So that's the different scenarios. We're not getting there in the ideal situation. So the odds of holding this level for a higher low are less likely. We could see the bulls, show up and turn things around here. But because we got there so fast on such significant bearish volume, we're likely going to pull back, and we'll see if the bulls can establish a higher low in the mid 6,000 range. But again, pretty significant weekly candlestick for the bears at this point. The daily chart, we can see a bullish reversal candlestick is trying to form. We're not seeing a climax kind of action in terms of a final flush down and then bulls significantly buying the dip. We can see the volume, which has a few more hours. Let's see, it's 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So the volume has a few more hours to go, but obviously it's not really significant compared to the last 2 days. It shows more indecision than a bottom at this point. The bulls are trying to form this bullish reversal doji. Tomorrow we have to see confirmation and follow through and a solid green day, ideally on increasing bull volume, to have much hope here. Again, I keep talking about how we're going back and comparing this price action to what happened in April. And the first bounce attempt in April rejected from the exponential resistance and formed a bear flag. So a 3-day bounce, cooled off some shorter term RSI levels, rejected from exponential resistance, and continued down. And again, that was after a 17.8% pullback. That's where we are, same percent pullback at this point. If we bounce for a couple days, these exponential resistances are going to drop down into the 7,300s, and that's going to be a potential short-term target where the bears are going to be lying in wait, ready to enter positions again. And we've been seeing that on the 4-hour time frame, where they just enter on the 4-hour resistance, and it's been giving profitable trade after profitable trade. And right now, the 4-hour time frame is absolutely another bear flag. It is exactly what we've seen twice just recently. We reject from exponential resistance and we drop to another leg down. So at this point, we have to anticipate that that is absolutely a possibility. And if that does occur, the RSI we can see has cooled off. It is now just above 30. If we drop back down to a lower low, that RSI will be back in the mid-20s. Inside bar on the 4-hour just formed. Essentially, the only way to get out of this pattern that we're in that continues to favor the bears is a bull volume spike and to get over these exponential resistances. And we're not seeing that at this point, so we must remain protective. At this point, I have a half a position. I sold a small amount, just break even, just under break even on this initial bull move up. And I will look to add on a break-even play, but I am going to also exit a little bit and continue to take either break-even or small losses to free up cash, where as long as it looks like we're going to continue setting another leg down, I want to have cash free that I can make those entries. So these bounces are not giving us anything but, break-even opportunities unless we nail the bottom. But it's the kind of scenario that the daily chart, we know it's going to bounce and we know it's going to set a lower high. It's just a question of when does that bounce get some momentum. One thing that I'm noticing on these short charts, the BTC USD short charts, bears are getting a little bit cocky. And I will never use this short chart alone to enter a trade, but it is good for observations and it's good to add to my analysis. So I compare and say, okay, the price right now is very similar to where it was back on July 31st. So I want to look and say, what was the price action doing the last time the shorts were this high? And we can see the shorts are getting a little extended. The RSI on the 4-hour time frame is above 70, and it's actually the highest 4-hour RSI we've seen since back in June. So that is a little bit notable. And why I say they're getting cocky is because the shorts are higher than the level we were at when the price action, let's go to the 4-hour, but when the price was up here, this is when the shorts were that high. So the price was literally over 10% higher and the shorts were at this same level. So if I'm a short, it's a completely different scenario to be on the 3rd red day of a pullback as opposed to on the 7th red day of a pullback. So what I mean by that is the amount of shorts that are open right now are a little bit cocky because the confidence that they have that we're going to see continuation to the downside from where we stand is not in the same likelihood in terms of the scenario we were at just 4 days ago when the shorts were this high again. So to see the shorts increasing to a point when we were 10% higher, that tells me the higher the shorts get, that we can see the bounce when it does get going, get a little bit of extra momentum with it if it does trap some of these shorts. But again, these shorts are not scared right now because these 4-hour time frames are not showing us anything but continued lower highs and lower lows. So it's going to have to take one of those scenarios when I talk about the bulls, punching the bears in the mouth, they're going to have to do that with a bull volume spike, a surprise move, quick move over 7,084. And really, ideally, they need to see a $100 to $200 move to start to put some pressure on these shorts and cause them to start covering. Because again, you look at the hourly chart, it's been doing nothing but going up all the while building this base of this flag. So eventually we'll get to a point where the shorts get too extended, they get too cocky, the bulls see a little bit of buying pressure in combination with these shorts having to cover. We see the daily bounce for Bitcoin get going. And again, we do not have that sign right now. We can absolutely see another leg down. 6,800 is the previous resistance level, now support that everybody's keeping an eye on. We got close to that level, but we haven't really hit that level yet. So absolutely, we could see this bounce follow through and get a move up to the 7,200 range tonight. But the odds right now, until we see a volume spike, continues to favor these bears. So we have to keep that in mind. And as bulls, you have to remain protective. And I bet bears are going to be looking to re-enter again or add to their positions once we hit these 4-hour exponential resistances that are dropping down currently in the low 7,100 for this 12 period, which has been a great guide knocking the price down the last few days. So checking out Ethereum, Ethereum's gained some ground. The ETH BTC chart the past couple days has gained some ground because Ethereum is not pulling back as significantly as Bitcoin is. Ethereum's not showing us any bullish action, but it's not seeing an all-out dump, similar to what Bitcoin is seeing. So at this point, I like the 4-hour time frame on Ethereum because it's nice and tight. We got our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and the range we're in right now, look how many candlesticks we've been within this range. 8 4-hour candlesticks. So over 24 hours, we've been within 450 cents psychological support and 409.40 resistance. So a 2% range that we've been in for such a long time, and we're close to testing this resistance. If we break 409.40, next level is 420.27 for the bulls to start shifting this momentum significantly. Felt like I was about to say a bad word. So we've got the exponential resistance keeping the price contained, have to see the higher low and higher high to shift the momentum, get the daily bounce going. Again, the daily bounce is just likely to set a lower high. Not going to change any kind of trend on this daily time frame for Ethereum at this point. We're just looking for a shorter term oversold bounce. And again, on these daily exponential resistances, the bears are likely going to be lying in wait, ready for a bearish entry. So at this point, for the bulls to regain momentum in this sector right now, especially for Bitcoin, it's going to take a positive ETF decision, which I do not anticipate happening. So we have to anticipate the potential that we could consolidate for the next week or maybe even the next couple weeks and head back down into the mid 6,000 range. So I definitely want to give caution because right now the bulls are not proving a whole lot in the sense that the ideal scenario after this bull move of the last few weeks is not happening. The bears are, putting their foot down and they're making their presence known. And they're definitely standing out to me in terms of saying, all right, we're back to a scenario where the bulls have to prove themselves, and they have not been able to significantly do so aside from brief spurts like we just saw back in July. So Ethereum, tight 4-hour range to be watching, tightening on the daily chart as well. Pretty much just waiting for this 4-hour time frame on Bitcoin. Are we going to drop down and bear flag yet again, or can the bulls see a bit of a bounce and get back to the 7,200 area? And that would have us zoom out. Again, as soon as we get over these 4-hour exponential resistances, we zoom out to the daily, and then we look at the daily exponential resistances. Let's now get into some of these altcoins, which have been hurting, but seeing a bit of a recovery due to the Bitcoin weakness. So this is IoT USD trying to form a lower wick on the weekly candlestick to keep us within this support range, in the sense that the previous support was 88 cents, and the bulls are trying to close above that level and establish this base of support. So the daily time frame at this point, very choppy. Big green day, big pullback. Whenever I see this kind of choppy action, I zoom in for more details, and the 4-hour time frame gives it to us, where we have our low, high of the bull move. Last time we covered IoT, we said 4-hour consolidation was coming, and it certainly did on increasing bear volume, but then a big bull spike headed up to a higher high. That is very notable. Right now, if I had to pick the most important short-term levels to be watching, I'd go to the hourly chart. Here's our base of consolidation of 89.42 and then resistance of 93.09. If the bulls break 93.09, they affirm that they're still in control at this point. And if we break 89.42, we still have further consolidation to go. So a lot of choppy whipsaw action on the daily time frame. Certainly a lot of volatility, as you can see on the 4-hour chart. And things are settling down a little bit. The volume's dropping off. The price is leveling out sideways after a lot of back and forth action. And we should see a break from this tight range sometime overnight tonight to indicate whether we're heading back up over $1 or to test that dollar level, or if we're fading back down towards 833, must hold 4-hour higher low of support if the bulls want to change around this daily trend. You can see it's still lower highs on the daily. Every single little peak here that we've seen over the past couple months is just a lower high, lower high, lower high. That has to change. NEO USD on the weekly time frame, no lower wick really, trying to see a bounce. 27.03 was support. We broke that level, but not by much. We're still above it at this point. Daily time frame to try and change this trend back to the bulls, nowhere near happening. The last bounce attempt topped out at 34.32. Anything under that level is a lower high, and here we are almost 20% below that level, about 18% or so. So on any bounce, a lower high is very likely to form, and at this point, bullish reversal candlestick has to see follow through tomorrow, and we have to see changes in the 4-hour trend to have any confidence that a daily bounce is going to get going. And that's the reason we don't have any confidence in Bitcoin getting going just yet, although bulls trying to break some inside bars right now. But until we break the trend on the 4-hour time frame, the daily bounce does not really have a whole lot of follow through. So NEO, 4-hour lower highs here to watch, and anything under 28.76 is just another lower high. We need the higher low and break of the lower highs to try and change this trend. Again, bears are extremely comfortable and have no reason to cover as long as these 4-hour trends are in this pattern. EOS USDT, weekly time frame. We don't have a ton of data here, but as long as we hold this support of 654, we have enough data. And if we break that, we have to find a different exchange for different data prices. So 654 support, 944 resistance is the range to be watching. It's the range we've been in for the last 6 weeks. The daily chart, nowhere near changing any kind of trend. We just topped out with a lower high at 732. Anything under that level keeps the bears in full control. Trying to build a base of support down here in the 690 to 687 range. Actually 690 to 685. 5 support tests and 5 holds at this point. If the bulls can shift momentum and break 732, that will be the start of a bit of a bounce. But even then, we're looking back up at the range in the mid $8, and we're not going to break that level if we do get a bull move. So the bull move will be short term, and again, there's such a lack of shift on daily time frames at this point that pretty much any best case scenario for these bulls is just to set lower highs on the daily time frame. They're just trying to find a bottom, trying to bounce and set a lower high, and we'll take it from there based on how much volume is behind this bounce. But at this point, again, it's very clear that so many individual names, the bears are in absolute control on the daily time frame. There's no other way to cut it. BNB USD is one difference here. where the weekly uptrend is still intact with that double bottom. We have a weekly inside bar to be watching next week, and the daily chart is in a nice tightening equilibrium as anticipated. So yesterday in the video, we said we have our high, low, looks like our lower high is being set. We're going to look for a higher low compared to $13, and that's exactly what we have now, a higher low at $13.22. So the range continues to tighten here. A nice equilibrium is shaping up. Let's see if it's more clear on the 4-hour. Not really. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So I like it better on the daily chart. And a break of 13.22 is a shift towards the bears on the daily, and a break of 14.47 is a move towards continuation for the bulls. So I like the nice tight pattern. The daily chart is in an uptrend. Not many individual names in the sector right now are in uptrends. So BNB is a great hedge for the sector as a whole because it sees the least amount of correlation to Bitcoin. And honestly, I think that's a pretty important aspect to have about a coin in this space right now, where any of these altcoins, if you've got a correlation that's the same as Bitcoin, you get lost in the shuffle. And it's clear that Binance is standing out. Whatever they're doing something right to allow themselves to have some strength and have an uptrend counter to what Bitcoin is doing. That is very notable. And that's something that traders are going to need in this space. We need different, just like the stock market. The stock market can have some names going up 20% and some names going down 10% on any given day because we're not all synced together. There's definitely correlations everywhere, but it's not as extreme as what we're seeing in the cryptocurrency space. So the more coins that we have, like Binance, that can do their own thing and give traders something to do, when a market is bearish and we have some bulls looking for plays and vice versa, we need that versatility in the markets, and it's good to see Binance doing that. So clear inside, or I should say clear equilibrium to be watching on the daily. ADA BTC just had a bear break of this support down at 1673, and actually looks like we're holding it. I take that back. That's a double low still at this point. We're just barely holding it. Bulls have to break 2612 to change this weekly momentum. We've been within this range for 6-7 weeks. The daily chart, again, nowhere near changing any trends. Anything under 213 is just a little lower high. This is a weak bear flag bounce attempt, continuation down. We have another resistance here to watch, 18.9. But essentially, this is a weak oversold bounce. It's likely not going to do anything except set a lower high. We'll then have to form a higher low and break the lower highs for the daily trend to change. So it's a nice little 3-day bounce. I mean, this is what Bitcoin is looking to do. Some of these other names looking for this bounce that hasn't happened yet. And this is what we're seeing on a lot of Bitcoin pairings, again, because the altcoins are not dropping down as significantly as Bitcoin the past 3 days. So we're seeing the ETH chart and the LTC chart and the ADA BTC chart get a couple days of a bounce because they are holding up a bit better than Bitcoin. ETC USD on the weekly time frame, also still in a tightening range. Support down here at $12. Resistance is $19, and the bulls are looking for a higher low at $14.13. So pretty much $14.13 support, $19 resistance is the range to be watching on the weekly. The daily chart at a key resistance right now. Look at this resistance of 1744, 1740, 1740. So a very clear triple top that if this breaks, we'll look for a higher low on the daily and then attempted continuation. Bulls want to break this level right now rather than give the bears comfortability with a triple top and a clear level for them to stop out of. That's why the bulls want to break it to force some shorts to cover. So ETC, definitely a solid bounce the last few days, more so than most of the other individual names that we've looked at, and just need to get over that triple top to try and shift this weekly momentum. If we can break these lower highs, that will be notable for ETC USD here. And we've got the listing on Coinbase coming up. That's definitely adding some momentum to the individual name right now, and we'll be watching that as we head into the fall here as we get closer and closer to that listing on Coinbase. A lot of people are going to anticipate a big bull move first thing right when they get listed, and that's what we've seen in the past with some other coins. So it is worth paying attention to, and it could potentially be the first time that I trade ETC when it does get listed on Coinbase Pro. ZEC USD, also still a downtrend on the weekly time frame, just setting lower highs. New resistance is 232, and support is down at 150. So that is our current range. The daily chart nowhere near changing the trend, and we actually just broke a key support level of 172.63. And you can see that even when we do bounce here, just like Bitcoin, we're only going to be looking to set a lower high because of the magnitude of the pullback that we've seen over the last 6-7 days. So a clear range that we've been within, essentially a little double top, and now trying for a double bottom. But we could be within this range for a long time, because even if we do bounce, a solid bounce is only going to get us back to the middle of this range. At this point, it's the bulls' backs against the wall trying to maintain this support rather than fading back down towards our low in the 150 range. So that's where we stand. Bitcoin's still trying to make this bull break. We did just get a bull break at the 4-hour inside bar. Have to break the high of the bounce of $7,084 to try and get some continuation here and get over these hourly exponential resistances. After that, we zoom out to the 4-hour exponential resistances, and we see we still have that clear battle awaiting. Bulls need a bull MAC decross and get over these exponential resistances, which continually reject the price on these bounce attempts. That's all we got for today. Hope you had a great Sunday. We'll continue to check in as always. I hope you all continue to do good things. Was talking with some members about, starting with smaller capital versus starting with bigger capital. Obviously, if you start trading with bigger capital, there's a lot more comfortability around that. But just in terms of my personal journey, I want to talk about hustle. And I talk about hustle a bit in the cryptocurrency course with a section, it's inspired by my dad really back at playing T-ball, where hustle was a frame of mind that he burned into my head just in terms of, if you want to stand out in life, hustle more than the guy next to you, run from point A to point B rather than walking or loping around, and you stand out. Just that little bit of extra effort. If you're giving more than other people, you get ahead. And that's the same way with traders. If I'm putting in more effort than other traders with regards to learning and with regards to my, regiment and sticking true to my game plan and things like that, if I'm doing a better job than the vast majority of traders, that's going to put me ahead in the game. So not only with regards to trading, but hustle in everyday life. So my biggest gains trading stocks and cryptocurrency has been going very aggressive and striking on opportunity. And that opportunity has come obviously in the 2017 crypto boom, but it's happened in the MJ sector. The US MJ sector has done it twice. The Canadian MJ sector has done it twice, both times giving, 500+% gains. So these cycles come around in these very speculative markets, and they allow for opportunity where if you are comfortable and prepared and you've done your research and you've done your homework in terms of getting prepared to make trades and practice and all that and put in the time for education, where you can smash these opportunities very aggressively. So when cryptocurrency was breaking out, I was sleeping 2 hours at a time and waking up and making a dozen trades a day. And I said, oh man, I can't do this. I cannot keep this up. But I knew the opportunity would not last. So I literally changed my entire life to base around trading cryptocurrency. I literally can remember, at the farm, we would have parties and gatherings and there'd be a show playing. And I look at my phone and say, man, we got hourly oversold RSI and we're in a raging bull blue sky breakout. I can remember literally leaving parties, sprinting out back to the shed that I was staying in, literally running as fast as I could to place orders and doing that consistently month after month. So the bottom line is hustle in your everyday life, whether that means picking up extra shifts, whether that means taking a side job. Get your entrepreneurial game going and accrue capital. So I started with $3,000 that I saved up from working summer camps in high school and from starting my own lawn service business in the 9th grade in my neighborhood. And that's how I got enough capital, $3,000 to $5,000 to do, put in a mutual fund, which I eventually took out and said, all right, forget this. I'm going high risk in MJ. That fortunately worked out. But the bottom line is the more capital that you can compile, and while you're waiting for the next opportunity, you are being conservative, protecting your capital, trading with a small amount of money to get experience and to feel those real emotions, but obviously not wanting to blow your stack, trading in unfavorable environments and then miss the opportunity when it's really easy. So the cryptocurrency environment is going to be really easy for bulls to trade again at some point. I don't know when that's going to be, but I know it's going to happen. And it's the same thing for any sector in terms of MJ. Essentially, if you had a new trader come up to me and say, I want to start learning technical analysis right now, I have X amount of dollars, I would say, all right, buckle down, dedicate time as often as you can every week to studying, to watching courses and videos, to practicing trading during the regular trading day, practice setting stop losses and targets, and compile capital. Do everything that you can to earn money that you can use as, money that is fine if you lose it in terms of being comfortable, but have that pile of cash ready when the opportunity strikes. And I would say to that person, the next clear opportunity that we know is coming is the USMJ sector. Whether that's in 2 years, 1 year, 6 years, I don't know. I know it's coming. I would be shocked if it took 6 years to get here, but there's going to be a very significant opportunity to make hundreds of % in this USMJ sector. If the crypto sector gives us another opportunity before then, that's just a bonus. That's great. But do everything that you can. When I was in my first few years of trading and doing it full time and living off of my trading profits, I was doing things to add capital to my account. I was taking poker winnings and adding it. I worked on an organic farm for a season, and all of my extra pay I would put towards my stock account. I did odd jobs, just lawn maintenance, planting bushes, doing handyman stuff, painting a house, all these things that I did, I took advantage of to literally compile capital for my stock trading account. And every single dollar that I worked for doing these labor jobs or whatever it was that I put into my stock account years ago, they have all now magnified by thousands of % because I put them into crypto, and then I took that crypto gains, put them into Canadian MJ, and just magnified my profits by compiling interest and by compounding profit is what I'm trying to say. So bottom line is, get motivated and get your entrepreneurial game on and prepare yourself for that next big market environment that is coming. Not necessarily saying, I'm putting all my money and I'm going to start trading crypto in this market, because if you're trying to trade bullish, you're trading in a difficult market. And again, just being patient and waiting for when things are really easy, that's when the most money is to be made. So I appreciate you watching. As always, do those good things. We will see you tomorrow.